SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
This is Gerard Gibert, and thank you for listening to MidDays here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
MidDays with Gerard Gibert is on the air. MidDays with Gerard Gibert is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. Get ready to go beyond the headlines and join a meaningful conversation with people from around the state. You're listening to MidDays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to MidDays, SuperTalk Mississippi. I'm your host, Gerard Gibert, and I'm on location today in New Albany, Mississippi, positioned at the Magnolia Theater just across the street from the iconic Union County Courthouse. We're here for the Tallahatchie River Festival. It kicks off, I believe, this weekend. We'll be guiding you through the middle of your day with facts, fodder, and fine music on this, as Rhino would say, hump day. It's Will East back in the SuperTalk headquarters studio. What's going on there, Will?
Oh, a very humid day in central Mississippi, I can tell you that.
Yeah, and up here, I can tell you the temperatures are a bit more moderate. There is a front, as you know, moving through. I encountered some rain en route up I-55 around the Grenada area. I'm looking at the radar. It is positioned off to our west. Looks like it's going to skirt just south of our location here in downtown New Albany, but might hit the Oxford area, which is just slightly to the southwest of our location. But we're all good to go. We've got a packed show for you today. Billie Jean Stroud, Director of Community Development and Main Street, will join us in the next segment. Julie Cottrell, Business Sales with Ace Power at 10:50. Representative Sam Creekmore, he represents this area here in Union County, District 14, serves as chairman of the Public Health and Human Services Committee. He'll be on with us to kick off hour 2 of MidDays. We've got Michael Mahoney, retiree and current New Albany resident at 11:35. Brittany Clark, nurse practitioner and New Albany resident, spearheading the park along this river revitalization project underway. Jeff Olson, the mayor of New Albany, gets us kicked off in hour 3 at 12:05, and then at 12:35 it's Randy Kelly, Executive Director of Three Rivers Planning and Development, and John Byers, Community and Economic Development Director with Three Rivers Planning and Development District. So you may hear some noise in the background. If you do, that's because they're putting a new roof on the Union County Courthouse. It is, I would say it's one of those structures that is well known in Mississippi. Its architecture, kind of a more classic, traditional, symmetrical style courthouse with a big, looks like a bronze dome atop it, and a clock, a Roman numeral-faced clock. There are clocks on each side of the dome. So pretty cool, but there are workers up there that are putting a new roof on it, and every now and then they get a blower out, blow stuff off the top of the roof. So, and that just literally stopped when our broadcast began. So just be aware of that, folks, if you hear that in the background. So some bit of breaking news this morning you guys may have seen and heard. 1 dead, 2 injured in a shooting at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility. That, according to the Dallas Police Department. Quote, the preliminary investigation determined that a suspect opened fire at a government building from an adjacent building. 2 people were transported to the hospital with gunshot wounds. 1 victim died at the scene. The suspect is deceased. That, according to the Dallas Police Department, they posted this on X. Initially confirmed by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who said the suspect in the shooting died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. There was a shooting this morning at the Dallas field office, said Secretary Noem in a statement she posted on X. Details are still emerging, but we can confirm there were multiple injuries and fatalities. So no idea of the identity of this shooter. The motivation, it just seems like that everything that sort of stands for good and justice and civility and order and law are under assault in this country, and I can't help but now we don't know. Again, not going to even try to second guess and speculate on the political, if any, persuasion and character of this individual. It's obviously very curious that this is an ICE facility, and of course ICE has been under fire from the Democrats in this country. In California here, Governor Gavin Newsom has enacted law, I believe, or maybe it was an order, but suggesting that ICE agents are not suggesting it, but declaring that ICE agents are not allowed to wear masks.
Yeah, and we all know the reason behind that.
And what would that be, in your view?
So they can publicly identify the ICE agents.
They want to box them.
They say, John Doe lives over there on 123 Elm Street. Go to his house and protest in front of his house, and maybe he'll quit.
Yeah, and that's terrible because essentially what they're doing is they're sort of turning these ICE agents, these law enforcement officers, into criminals. That's what they want, to criminalize them, to expose them, to dox them, as you said, by exposing their identification, their address, their contact information, thinking that lunatic leftists will pursue and go after them just as they have Supreme Court justices. Is it Gorsuch that they went after? Now we've learned that was some deranged transgender individual. Or was it Kavanaugh? I can't remember which
Kavanaugh.
one. Will Kavanaugh? Yep, thank you. So, but this is crazy, and how can you conclude anything but that the Democrats in this country are inciting this sort of nonsense with their anti-ICE rhetoric? They certainly have been very outspoken in that respect. Just really incredible, and there's an article this morning in the Washington Times that I caught, and it talks about how children, not children, but kids in college, I call them children, they are to me based on their age, but college kids are essentially embracing political violence, saying that they are happy that Charlie Kirk's voice has been silenced. At the University of Maryland, some students say extreme measures are sometimes appropriate to shut down political speech they don't like. Extreme as in homicide, assassination, murder? Seriously? Sophia, a 19-year-old sophomore studying biology, said some of her friends were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk because they disagreed with his political views and considered him a threat. Quote, a lot of my friends that day were like, well, I feel like I'm happy that Charlie Kirk is dead and that I also feel guilty that I feel that way. I think a lot of it is just he was spreading so much hate, misinformation, encouraging violence. And so I think that in this scenario, a lot of people were not necessarily happy that he died, but happy that his voice was silenced. Where are they getting that from? Encouraging violence? Spreading hate? Misinformation? Well, of course, to them, hate is defined as you disagree with me. Therefore, you're spreading hate and misinformation, and you're encouraging violence. In other words, I don't accept the idea of freedom of expression and freedom of thought. You don't accept those constitutional principles and values and really the cornerstone of our democracy, of the republic as it was created by our founders. The democracy, of course, indicating that we live in a Republican form of democracy where government is of, by, and for the people. We elect people to carry out that on our behalf. So this is insane. This is crazy. Would it have been better if his voice was silenced, not through death? Yeah, this is what the sophomore says. It would have. So I think a lot of people are really conflicted because of that. How can you be conflicted about assassination? I mean, is that where we are with respect to 19-year-olds, college kids in this country? That's deeply disturbing, and I attribute it to the hate and the Marxist values and indoctrination being perpetrated on our young people by the education establishment, these Marxist professors. We're coming right back with Billie Jean Stroud in New Albany, Mississippi. Stay with us.
This segment of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
Gerard Gibert. He keeps his classified documents right where they belong. Inside a Journey record jacket from the 1980s. Gerard Gibert. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Middays. Once again, we're in New Albany, Mississippi today for the Tallahatchie River Festival. We're pleased to welcome now Billie Jean Stroud, Director of Community Development and Main Street, New Albany. Billie Jean, good to see you again.
Nice seeing you.
All right, tell us what's going on here in New Albany, and in particular with the Tallahatchie River Festival. That's a big event you guys have every year.
It's a big event. It's the one event that everybody looks forward to, and it's in the middle of Bankhead Street, and people love it there. We're going to kick off this festival. It started in 1997 as a celebration of William Faulkner's birthday, and so it's full of literature and art and music. And this year we're happy to have a headliner, Sarah Evans, that will be taking the stage at 9 o'clock, and this is a free concert, so we're inviting everybody.
Gotcha.
Come
All
to
right,
New
so
Albany.
Speaking of Main Street, you're obviously oversee that,
Mm-hmm.
but the Main Street here in New Albany appears to be thriving.
Main Streets, I think people are really becoming aware of all main streets in our great state.
Yeah.
They really are. The community developers, they set the stage for industries to come in. As you can see, traffic hasn't stopped all morning.
Yeah.
It's great. But anyway, Main Street is a wonderful program that follows a four-point approach to revitalizing our communities, and New Albany has done that very well.
One thing I always note whenever I am traveling through small communities, small towns
Mm-hmm.
like New Albany, is just how many of the shops and the storefronts are either occupied or closed. Mm-hmm. And you're in good shape here. Looks like you got a whole bunch of them that are in use.
I don't want to brag, but we are at 100% occupancy.
That's what it looked like to me.
And we have a great mix of retail and restaurant and services.
Yep.
And that's the secret formula for a thriving downtown. You've got to have a great mix, and we have that. It also helps that we have the Tanglefoot Trail that kind of drops off right in the middle of our downtown area. And, of course, that brings visitors from all over the United States and other countries.
Yep.
And it's a great way for people that know nothing about New Albany to discover New Albany. And that's the benefit of having that trail also.
Yeah. All right, so tell us what you do in your role as the Director of Community Development.
Okay, well, the definition is just community development. So I try very hard to make every citizen and visitor that comes to this town feel connected to this place we call home. So that's events, that's beautification projects, that's park revitalization. It's everything that you think of as a quality of place. So we want people to come here and not only visit, but really to live here and to raise their families. And we're fortunate enough to have an A-rated hospital in the Baptist system. We have a county and city school system that are models for the rest of the state. They're A-rated. And we have first responders, police and fire that are homegrown men and women that grew up here. And so we're a very safe community. So you put all that together, and that's what I do. It's community development.
I got you. Well, that makes perfect sense. So what do you expect in terms of attendance at the Tallahatchie River Fest coming up?
We are actually doing an economic impact study this year through Mississippi State University's extension program, and we're hoping to get real numbers. But the reason we're even doing that is we've seen an increase in attendance the last 2 or 3 years. We're expecting maybe 30,000 during the day. At night, we've had the last 2 years close to 7,000.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's huge. And our merchants downtown love it because it's shoppers in their stores. And so it all has a trickle-down effect for everybody.
And tell us again when this started. You say
1997 it started.
And whose idea was it?
Well, actually, it was a group of active citizens, and I really think it started with the Union County Heritage Museum. Jill Smith, you know her, and what a fabulous job she does in this community. It's preserving our history, and it started there, and it's continued on all these years.
Yeah, well, it continues to grow, does it not, and get bigger and better?
Well, it's great, and you know, I have to say, Ole Miss and LSU weekend helps to bring the overflow from that event too. So our hotels
right down the street here, 30 miles away in Oxford.
Our hotels are maxed out.
Okay.
So
that's good to hear.
It's a good weekend.
So I assume then that all the merchants, the hotels, the restaurants, they're fully supportive of this event.
Absolutely, and of course, the last 2 years we've had 2 restaurants to actually come. In downtown area, we've got Nico's. That's been open about 3 years. He looks forward to this event. He brings his establishment out in the street, and then we have a new restaurant, JoJo's, that just opened a couple of weeks ago, and so this will be their first Riverfest. But I think they're excited about exposing people to their cuisine as well.
We are visiting with Billie Jean Stroud, Director of Community Development and Main Street here in New Albany. So you got a bunch of people coming in. You got all the hotels full, the restaurants, the shops. They're all geared up, ready for business. This is a year-round planning effort, I assume, right?
We take a little break in October, and then we start back December, start planning, and then January it's full speed ahead. And I had some great volunteers, but it's really about a 3-4 man project that puts it on.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, a lot of work behind the scenes to make all this happen.
A lot of work. We have great sponsors. B&A Bank has a family bike ride that you can register at 7:00 at the Trailhead Plaza, and it's just a family bike ride. They sponsor that, and then we have. Local musicians, the PIP Project, that'll kick off the music. And then we have Shameless All-Star Country Band and Presley Barker, who's an up-and-coming musician and songwriter out of Nashville that will open up for Sarah Evans. And so from 5 to 10:30, we've got great music on the center stage. But starting at 10 o'clock, we've got 3 local acts that will be playing from 10 to 4 on the Trailhead Plaza. So you're going to have activity, marketplace vendors, music all day long.
Okay, so can folks just show up? Do they need tickets? How's that work?
It's a free concert.
Okay.
So that's the thing that we want most out of it.
Just bring yourself.
Just bring your lawn chair and come, and lots of money. Bring your money.
I got it. So anything different about this year's event than prior years that you guys added?
No. I mean, each year we try to really have a headliner that people want.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when the weather's good, it dictates everything.
Yeah.
And we've been very fortunate.
Yeah, good time of year.
Since I've been here in 2017, I've never had a Riverfest rained out.
That's
so
awesome.
Knock on wood, I don't want it now.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Weekend.
It looks great.
Yeah, pretty low risk time of year from a wet weather perspective, which is a good thing. Do you try to schedule it on the same weekend that there's a home football game?
No, I mean, it's always the same. It's the fourth weekend in September. Faulkner's birthday was the week of the 25th or 24th, 25th, and that we have it his birthday week. So everybody has it on their calendar year round.
And I would assume that every year you see people come to the Tallahatchie Riverfest that have never been to Mississippi, never been to New Albany,
never been
to Riverfest,
never
right?
been. I'm telling you, we have a great energy in this community, and people are beginning to find out about it. And it's it's a quaint little town.
Yeah, sure.
And once you get here, the people are friendly, and everybody embraces them. And I think we're just beginning to see the growth in New Albany.
What kind of reaction do you get from people who have never been here? Is it what they expected? A little different?
A little different.
Yeah.
I think mainly from our people that we get a lot of overflow from parents that have children that go to Ole Miss from out of state.
Yeah.
And when they come here for various reasons, they discover a real gem.
That makes sense.
And you're going to be speaking to one this afternoon about why he retired in New Albany, and he's got a great story. And anyway, when you combine the Main Street program with a great leadership team, we have Jeff Osen is our newly elected mayor. He's all involved.
Coming on later too.
Yeah, and when you have a great team, you see the results from that, the positive results on that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So it's the sort of community that just all pulls and works together. Right?
It is, and I have had some people from New Hampshire and Seattle, Washington that's moved here, and they'll stop by my office and they'll say, please don't advertise this place. Please, you don't know what you have. So, and I've heard that more than once. So, that's the postage stamp on what we do here.
People are looking for a high quality of life, and it seems like they can attain that right here in New Albany.
Well, we have it all. We're strategically located on I-22. We've got two of the biggest SEC college campuses in Starkville and Ole Miss. We're an hour away from an international airport. We've got Tupelo, Mississippi. We're just located in a
great
sweet
location.
spot. Yes.
Yeah, good point. Billie Jean Stroud, Director of Community Development in Main Street, here in New Albany, talking about the Tallahatchie Riverfest coming up. Appreciate you coming.
That's
on.
great. Thank you.
Yeah. Folks, we're stepping aside right now. Special thanks to Tallahatchie Gourmet for providing food for our crew today. Can't wait to dig into that. Locations in New Albany and Oxford. We're coming right back. The Element Well Studio is in downtown New Albany for the Tallahatchie River Festival. Stay with us.
From the Seabrook Cap.
Stories that matter most to Mississippians. Gerard Gibert. Middays with Gerard. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Some people say this town don't look good in snow. You don't care, I know. Ventura Highway in the sun.
Jerry Beckley and Dewey Bunnell. That would be America. Great tune there. Appreciate that. Will, so just looking a little deeper, Will, into this situation with Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom, as their president likes to call him. Caroline Leavitt, I think, also refers to him as such. But the Homeland Security issued a statement. I mean, it's officially on their website, and in the title of their statement, their press release is, despite 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers, Governor Newsom signs unconstitutional law to ban law enforcement officer protections. And basically, some of the folks in the ICE ranks are saying we're not going to adhere to that nonsense.
I mean, what are they going to do? Arrest them? I mean,
well, I don't know. Somebody asked that on the C Spire text line who is going to enforce. This is Aubrey in Clinton, who is going to enforce the no mask policy for California law enforcement. Gavin himself, you just can't see, can you, Will, that, say, California highway patrol, state troopers, or local police officers in the various cities in California, county sheriff's departments, I just can't see them approaching a member of ICE and saying, hey, take that mask off. I just can't see that. I think they're likely to stand in solidarity with their brothers and sisters in law enforcement. I think Gavin Newsom is miscalculating this whole deal. And the fact that it's a bill indicates, of course, that this passed through the California legislature, which, of course, is dominated by woke leftist Democrats. And I think the Department of Homeland Security is right here in that there is a surge in assaults on ICE officers. We just saw it this morning, shooting at a Dallas ICE facility. So, we need more people, honestly, in the ICE organization, Immigrations and Custom Enforcement. We need more people. And the more that we can guarantee their safety and protect them just by allowing them to wear masks, I think certainly would help in recruiting. If at a minimum, if you can't protect your identity, you would think it would deter recruitment into the ranks. So this is silly in my view, and Newsom, let's be honest, this is political grandstanding. This guy's got his sights set on the White House in 2028, and I guess he thinks this is a way for him to endear to himself to his left-wing base and position himself for such a run for the White House. I think he's miscalculating this. I think most people want safe streets in this country. It's essential to any quality of life. It's essential to commerce and economic activity and prosperity. Without law enforcement, you can't attain that. You can't be prosperous. And that starts with keeping these bad, illegal actors off of our streets. And that's what ICE is doing. Many have been deported. And, of course, the border is effectively nobody's getting in now. What a change that is from the prior administration. So they're stopping folks at farms, at car washes, and other places where they suspect illegal immigrants might be. So this is a bad move on the part of Newsom, but he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer, in my view. So,
well, could the police just say, well, it's, I view that as being part of my health, I don't want to get sick by getting around other people, so I wear a mask like some people do in the grocery store.
Well, yeah.
Or some people do in their cars when they're driving down the road by themselves.
That is kind of an interesting dynamic, is it not? We went from put your mask on or we're putting you in jail to now take your mask off, right? So, oh my gosh. As Rhino likes to say, if they weren't for double standards, the Democrats would have none. But that's just so ridiculous. Yeah, they could just say, well, we don't want to catch COVID, but more importantly, we don't want to transmit it. Of course, we learned that was a total hoax. Not that most rational people ever believe that garbage coming from Anthony Fauci and his cohorts there that never really could give us any legitimate reason that was grounded in science for all that crap. But it is kind of mind-boggling, is it not, Will? Today you still see people, as you indicate, outside in brilliant sunshine, and we learned a few months after the whole COVID thing started that, yeah, the COVID germs can last like a nanosecond when they're exposed to sunlight. So this is just crazy. Oh, well. Let's see here. Ricky in Aberdeen says the Tallahatchie gourmet food is awesome. Appreciate that. CC in Senatobia says they want free speech, but for liberals only. Everybody else should shut up or die. Yeah, it is, again, a ridiculous double standard. On the C Spire text line, no, they do not want to accept the truth. They don't want to have ownership, and they are wrong that they are wrong about a topic. I absolutely agree. It's their idea of free speech also includes burning down buildings and pillaging the assets and the properties owned by others. They seem to think that is free expression, and that's valid and accepted and permissible. But merely thinking about a point of view or expressing that, as the great Charlie Kirk did, is considered objectionable to many, to the point where, okay, yeah, we can justify assassination. I mean, it's just mind-boggling that that's where we are in this country. Mose says, Gerard, the indoctrination starts much earlier than college. Starting in kindergarten, students are told not to speak unless spoken to, or given permission to speak by the teacher. For 12 years, they are told that teacher and school policies are not negotiable. I don't have a problem, Mose, with having some sort of reasonable order in the classroom, but I don't believe that a teacher should just tamp down those who want to speak that might be in disagreement with the teacher. And I certainly don't think teachers should be pushing their political viewpoints on school children. That shouldn't even be talked about in the classroom, in my view. But that's kind of crazy. I think, a reasonable request to be recognized and have the opportunity to speak in a classroom, even in kindergarten, I think provides some degree of order in the classroom so that everybody's not talking over each other and you can't hear anybody. But where it crosses the line is when the teacher says, well, I know your parents don't share the same political viewpoints I do, therefore I'm not recognizing you. That is happening, I believe, and that's crap. And that's just completely goes against the idea of free expression and the free exchange of ideas in an education environment. Dave in Monticello says, did you see where Kid Rock was banned by Governor Newsom in California from playing in that state? I did not. Were you aware of that, Will? I wasn't aware of that. How about that? Well, that's crazy, too. I mean, how can a governor just ban a band, a private entity? We
apparently that's
separate.
Not true. I'm looking at the
okay.
Yeah. Yahoo
I don't see how they could, honestly. Yeah. We got to get back to an environment, a system in our country where there's a pretty strong line between government and private individuals and the private sector. And we're crossing the lines, in my view, way too much. Philip in Walthall County says, in most countries it is normal procedure for law enforcement, especially special teams, to wear masks. I recently read an article in which European law enforcement were very surprised that American law enforcement officers don't wear masks. My German police friends find this reckless. Interesting. I've noticed that as well, Philip. Typically when you see photos or video of law enforcement in those countries, they do seem to be have some sort of covering on their face. That's their reparations payment on the C Spire text line, I think referring to the destruction of property and pillaging. Yeah, they justify it as that. They sanction it as such. They validate it. They come up with that as the rationale for destroying the property or taking the assets of other people. That is crazy. That is insane. When will the outrage and gnashing of teeth start from the left about the use of, I don't know, not even sure I should say the word guns over the ICE officer building shooting, says Ray in Long Beach. Good point. Will they show the same sort of outrage they do every time a gun is involved in some sort of senseless killing? You're right, Ray. I hope they do. But, somehow in their twisted, crazy logic, they have concluded that use of such force, even a gun, is permissible if it is being done to achieve their twisted, radical agenda. In this case, the agenda being no ICE officers, right? We're reimagining law enforcement. No ICE officers. Just unbelievable. And, the mayoral candidate there, Zoran Mondami in New York's doubling down once again. It looks like he's poised to win that election. It's only a few weeks away in New York. Sad days for the Big Apple. We're stepping aside for a break. When we come back, it's Julie Cottrell, business sales at Ace Power. Stay with us.
Middays with Gerard.
Good for America. Good for fans of justice and truth. Good for us.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
This is what we stand for.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival. Just want to pass this on real quick, is that there's evidence that the rounds found near the suspected shooter involved in this anti-ICE or this ICE shooting this morning included messages on the rounds that are anti-ICE in nature. We were just talking about that in the last segment. This is just hot off the press. We welcome now Julie Cottrell, Business Sales with Ace Fiber, right? That's what you're with now, yeah. And then we've also got Bill Maddox, and he runs New Albany Light, Gas, and Water. So, Bill, you were telling me on the break there that you guys have been busy building out your fiber network. I know we talked a couple of years ago about that. You were just getting shovels in the ground and planting fiber across your footprint, your customer footprint. Sounds like you're a pretty long way from that now, right? You've done a lot.
Yes, Gerard. Again, pleasure to be here. Thanks for coming to New Albany today. Yes, I think it was actually 3 years ago, almost to the day, we introduced our partnership with Ace Fiber, New Albany Light, Gas, and Water. We're a municipal utility. We cannot be an internet service provider due to state law.
Right.
So we partnered with our friends up in Corinth at Ace Power, their subsidiary Ace Fiber. They agreed to be the internet service provider for our electric footprint. We signed an agreement on that day when we spoke, and now 3 years later, we've got the system entirely built out across our footprint. We're proud to say, Gerard, I think this is a big accomplishment. So here our footprint stretches across multiple counties. We've got some in Marshall County, Benton County, Tippah County, but our biggest part of our customers are in Union County. With the completion of our footprint, now every single household in Union County has multi-gigabit internet at its front door. Now, that's a combination of several projects. That's us, Tom Bigby, Northeast Co-op, and Tippah Co-op. They all serve those customers. But, yeah, every customer in our county now has multi-gigabit internet at their front door.
So you not only built out the core network, but you've also handled the last mile connectivity as well, if you're hitting every address in the county, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we built down every road. So, again, if you've got the deer camp at the end of the road, or if you're right here in downtown New Albany, you've got the very same kind of service, Gerard.
What about your number of customers? I got to assume you've signed a lot of people up, huh, Julie?
Yes,
Since you got this service available now, right? Everybody's been waiting on it. Now they have it. No reason not to sign up.
Yes, we have, and we're currently signing up more. We've got some really good incentives for this Saturday at the Riverfest. We'd love everybody to come by to our tent. You can, our current subscribers and new ones, you can register to win a 58-screen television, and also we've got a $50 gift card if you sign up that day.
Okay. And so how can folks find out about what service is available, whether or not their address is available? Sounds like you got all of Union County taken care of, right?
If you have New Albany Light, Gas, and Water as your provider, you can have Ace Fiber.
Okay. And they can go to your website and find out about the various services that are available, the pricing plans, so forth?
Yes, you can. It's at ace-fiber.com.
Okay. Awesome. So that's a lot of work in a short period of time there. How'd you get that done, man?
We spent a lot of money, Gerard.
That's what it takes, doesn't it? You got to have people and assets to make that happen.
Absolutely. So in the last 3+ years, we've spent roughly $32 million on our electric system. That includes building the communication system. And that's at the core of this project, the communication system. That is for New Albany Electric's use. We're going to use that for grid modernization, really improve our electric system. And as a kind of a byproduct of that, we had the dark fiber lease with Ace Fiber.
Gotcha.
So we really accomplished a lot because we got the internet across our entire footprint, and now we got the foundation to modernize our electric grid. And we're getting ready to. That's kind of our next phase. We've won a big grant award. We hope that holds. We'll see. with kind of how the climate is right now with some grants. But we have $20 million in projects that we got awarded through Department of Energy, a $10 million grant. TVA is helping us with that, and again, we hope to bite that off in the next probably this year. We'll get it all designed and start the build out on the next $20 million worth of projects in the next year. Wow,
and that's what it takes. So, Julie, is the service turnkey? You guys handle everything. If a customer says, "Yeah, I'm ready to install your service," you take it all the way into the home, set the router up, and so forth.
And yes, we do. We have the manpower. We're local. And you won't be talking to anybody in any foreign country. You're going to be talking to us. If you have any issues, it's us. Yeah. You deal with us. Where all your money stays in North Mississippi, and part of it goes back to the infrastructure of New Albany Light, Gas, and Water. So we're really proud for that.
It's great partnership.
And there's no installation fee either.
Okay.
So there's no upfront fee. All you need to do is go to our website and sign up or give us a call.
Available for commercial and residential customers, right?
Yes. I deal with the commercial part of it. They just need to give me a call.
Bill, we got to go, but you were talking about the modernization plans that you have in place and those projects right now. But this is something that the whole country's having to do, right? The electricity providers in particular are having to modernize their infrastructure. It's just aging.
Absolutely, and things are changing with the supply issues that are out there, and then just with the changing needs inside the house. You got to have the technology to be able to help the customer, and this communication network's a big part of that.
Absolutely. Bill Maddox, Director of New Albany Light, Gas, and Water. Appreciate you coming on, Bill. Thanks for the update. Julie Cottrell, Director of Business Sales with Ace Fiber. Thanks a lot for coming on, guys. We're stepping aside for a break. It's Fox News, Super Talk News. Representative Sam Creekmore on the other side. Stay with us.
Of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by the Mississippi Business Journal. Visit msbusinessjournal.com. Scott Coopwood, publisher and president.
Get ready to go beyond the headlines and join a meaningful conversation with people from around the state. You're listening to Middays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays. We are live from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival on this hot day, as Rhino would say. Hour 2 of the program kicks off now with Representative Sam Creekmore. He's a member, of course, of the Mississippi House of Representatives, represents a District 14, which includes a Union County, serves as chairman of Public Health and Human Services Committee. Representative Creekmore, always good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Always good to see you, Gerard. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Wait, what happened there?
Oh, my goodness. That's good.
Yes, indeed. It is the representative's birthday today. Happy birthday, Sam.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, man. Oh, pretty cool. Yes, we will admit we orchestrated all that earlier this morning.
Oh, me.
Good to have you, though. Appreciate you coming on here. So, how about this courthouse? You know, that is a very recognizable courthouse, a symbol, I think, of small town Mississippi, is it not? The Union County Courthouse.
And stability.
Yes,
it's
good
just
point. Yes.
For downtown, and unfortunately we had a tornado come through and messed up the roof area, and that's why you see the new copper up there. Yeah. So
it's beautiful. It's copper. I said it was brass, but it's copper.
Yeah, and so that's being done now. And then also in the coming months, we've got plans for a new plaza. Veterans Plaza out front that will really enhance the courthouse and the whole square. Okay. So it's going to be a lot going on there.
Very cool. And we were just talking to Billie Jean Stroud, the director, of course, of community development in Main Street here in New Albany. And I observed, as I always do when I drive through many of these towns when we host remotes across the great state of Mississippi, that I try to pay attention to the shops, the storefronts, are they occupied? And certainly here in New Albany, she says 100% occupancy.
100% has been that way since y'all been coming up here.
That's awesome.
And,
that is amazing and an indication of a thriving community where people want to live and work and raise their families.
New Albany is really founded on connection and connectivity. And we've tried to enhance that. You see the new sidewalks going in, and walkability is a real important part, especially if you're going to be a retirement community.
Yeah.
But if you go back in the history of New Albany, the Tallahatchie River runs right through downtown, and the Chickasaw Indians, that was their trade route. And so when DeSoto came up, he helped kind of establish and met the Chickasaws. And we claim in New Albany this is where the first barbecue ever took place in Mississippi. DeSoto brought the pigs to America. The Indians had fire. They broke bread together and cooked barbecue.
I love it. All right, so we were talking offline here a minute ago about how it seems like the sessions are just kind of running together here between the 25 and the 26 session. You guys, even though you're technically not convened, not in regular session, a lot of work's been going on outside of the sessions, especially with the Speaker in the House putting together these select committees. They've been meeting quite a bit.
Yes, sir. And of course, since Speaker White got into the Speaker role, we've done that. Last year, of course, I chaired with Hank Zuber the CON's select committee.
Yep.
And this year, the Speaker's been very aggressive on the school choice, and that select committee's been very busy. And public health, we've been very busy as well. We don't have a select committee, but we're hosting hearings.
Okay.
We talked about the Ibogaine initiative. But another issue we have in the state is infant mortality and the lack of physicians as well in the rural areas, especially. So we're hosting a hearing on infant mortality, which it won't be a pleasant hearing at all, but we need to have that conversation in the state. So we'll be having that coming up soon. And then we're having some just meetings on how we can get physicians in some of these rural areas. For instance, in the Delta, there are 3 oncologists. The youngest is 61.
Wow.
And so in Mississippi, our people with cancer, the mortality rate's 23% higher than anywhere else in the country. So that's a subject that we're studying with the cancer task force, not a select committee, but a task force. So we're looking into that. We're also looking into first responders, suicide prevention, and PTSD, and how we can get them the help. And we've discussed mental issues here, but they're the first ones on the scenes, the trauma they see, and they do have to go home to their families and live in society. So we're trying to figure out ways to get them the help they need. That's another task force.
Yeah.
So it's been a very busy ATA session for many, especially in the House, but many legislators.
Well, I think any time you talk about health, you've always got to distinguish, do you not, Representative Creekmore, between the delivery of health care services and the health of our population in Mississippi. And those are both significant challenges for you guys.
Absolutely. And we recognize that many of our issues in the state are preventable. And so we're looking at how we can address that, especially with the younger generation, go and give them the tools and the information, the education they need to prevent further health issues as they get older.
Sure.
So we're looking at that. I've actually got a nutrition bill that will apply to the schools that we're vetting right now with the Department of Education, Department of Health, and several other interested parties. So that we're actually looking at that now.
Yeah, so certainly the distribution and the availability. You were just talking about the Delta, where the youngest oncologist in the area is 61, which means they're likely approaching retirement,
right.
And it could leave a hole there. I know that OB-gynecological services also in short supply, especially in that region, right?
It is, and so we're looking at ways to incentivize rural physicians to go to these rural areas.
Okay.
And we've got a rural physicians program in the state right now, and that's helping us, but we need more.
Okay.
Much more.
Okay. So you guys are talking about what can we do to recruit into the area or even better, retain those that are graduating from our medical schools.
Absolutely.
And keep them here to set up their practices.
Yes, sir. We had a meeting Monday with Department of Health, Dr. Edney, and on that very topic. And had several conversations.
Okay. So thinking about federal legislation, Representative Creekmore, of course, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed into law by the President a couple of months ago has got some key provisions in it that relate to health care. One of those, of course, is Medicaid. That's where there's probably as much involvement in the federal government in the delivery of health care services as there is in any program. It doesn't affect us too much because we did not expand Medicaid, most of those provisions with work requirements and verifying eligibility multiple times, twice a year, I think, and then the provider tax situation. Doesn't really affect us too much. Well, what are you guys watching where it might affect us?
Well, we're looking down the road, and you're right. We're still pretty much made whole through probably 2030. But then the money will start dropping as the bill stands right now.
Yeah.
And so I plan on, again, another task force, authoring a bill that creates a task force where we can really dig into this and what comes in 2030, how we can offset some of the funds that would not be coming from the federal government at that point. And because we have some hospitals that in the rural areas that, you know, the margin is really, really thin, and this can really affect them. And it's so important to keep these hospitals open. And you know, I prefer the beds to be empty because everybody's healthy, but, you know, especially in these rural areas, they're important to the health and quality of life for those areas, in every area. You know, we're fortunate, very fortunate here in New Albany. We've got a top 100 rural hospital in the country.
Yeah.
And when I became chair of public health, I've reached out to them and said, will y'all help me study these bills and how it affects y'all and every other hospital? And they've been, Ann Bishop, so the CEO, she's been really good and helping me with bills. You know, it's a team effort, and that's the way I look at it, not just in the legislature, but when I come back to New Albany and District 14, you know, I'm a landscape architect by trade. I need these experts to help me analyze and tell me what's good and bad and what needs to be changed. So we're very fortunate to have a strong medical community here and such a strong hospital that stays engaged and helps me.
Yeah, we're up against the break. You can hang around for
I'd love to.
Okay, we got Representative Sam Creekmore. So what I want to think about in the next segment is I know serving as chairman of public health in the House, healthcare being such a huge industry, something that affects every single Mississippian. I know you hear a lot from these folks in the hospitals in the medical community, and they're telling you kind of what they want you to work on in the legislature. Maybe we can touch on that in the next segment.
Okay.
Yeah, we got Representative Sam Creekmore. He represents right where we are, Union County. We're in New Albany, Mississippi, just across the street from the Union County Courthouse, a beautiful courthouse. We're here for the Tallahatchie River Festival, coming right back with Representative Creekmore.
We've sent that rib back.
That keeps Mississippi talking.
We're rolling. Hit it. Go. Play it.
Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from New Albany, Mississippi, Union County. It's the Tallahatchie River Festival that we're talking about today, but right now we're visiting with Representative Sam Creekmore, who chairs the Public Health and Human Services Committee. So, Representative Creekmore, before we went to break, I know health care is something that's pervasive, of course, in our state, and there are lots of policy around that. What are you hearing from health care professionals, hospitals, et cetera? What do they need from you guys?
They need employees.
Yeah.
I mean, and you hear that in every sector, really, in the state.
Yep.
But when you have beds that are available, but you can't put sick people in them because you don't have a workforce, and that's a real issue. And we touched on it earlier, but that, you know, the rural physicians, program we're going to really look at that. But that applies to dentists too, nurses, and we have those programs in place. But we're going to look at how we can maybe do more with that as well.
So one of the things that those wily congressmen and women up in Washington are dealing with right now is a possible government shutdown, and the bone of contention, as you know, is the Affordable Care Act. It's health care.
Right.
And specifically extending or not to extend the enhanced subsidies that provide federal assistance to pay for premiums for coverage purchased in the ACA exchanges. Last I checked, Representative Creekmore, a little over 70,000 Mississippians are now obtaining their coverage in the exchanges. It's estimated that as many as 20,000 would just drop their coverage because of these enhanced subsidies going away. Is it scheduled to do so right now?
Right. That's a real issue in our state. With the coverage we got now, we got so much uncompensated care that the hospitals have to take care of, and with more of them losing their insurance, that's going to be a real issue, and that's another one of the things we're going to be looking at this upcoming session as a result that the big beautiful bill is looking how can we do it. And then you and I have had these conversations numerous times because the hospitals cannot turn them away, and I don't think they should be able to, but we also need to be able to get them the money they need to take care of.
I know a lot of people will say, and you've heard it too, well, they just need to kind of re-engineer, restructure, reorganize, their operation, but there's just so much you can do. You can't. There's no substitute for free. I mean,
that's right.
That's what's happening. Like, I don't know that there's any business out there saying, well, we're going to accommodate a certain amount of free product and service in our business model. Nobody builds a business model around that, but hospitals have to.
They have to. But in business, it's constantly changing, just like in healthcare.
Sure.
And so that's why we meet every year in the legislature. Let's continue to retool, remodel, revisit, analyze, and see what we can do to change with this ever-changing environment in healthcare and everything else. So we will continue to look at it.
There have been significant efforts, as you're well aware, in the past to either fully repeal or at least partially repeal the Certificate of Need, the so-called CON laws that exist in the state of Mississippi, as they do in many other states as well. We seem to get close, but never across the finish line. What do you expect this year?
Well, that's some unfinished business we had from last session, and I really intend to bring that up early on in the session and at least pass what we got through last year, which was double the capital expenditures and create the Department of Health to look at things like dialysis and removing that from CON. So we'll Senator Bryan and I, we've agreed to kind of at least push that one through early on. But the original House bill that we authored did a whole lot more than that, and I would like to continue. Now, I've asked the Department of Health, and they would know better than anybody because they approved the CONs.
That's right. They administer the program.
Give me the services that need to be removed from CON, and I'll put that in the bill.
Okay.
And so they've taken that on. And hopefully by December 1st, they'll have their recommendations to me and Senator Bryan, and we'll go from there. So that's unfinished business that we have, and I plan on bringing that. That's a priority for me, and I do believe that will allow these hospitals to work more efficiently.
Okay,
and that's one of the things we can do. With their federal income going to be cut short. So that's we need to do that. Another thing I'm looking at is health information exchange and getting all our clinics, hospitals, CMHCs all on the same platform. And that way, information, you're here in New Albany, you get sick, you go to the hospital, your information from your hospital in Madison can be instantaneously delivered to this hospital and have the whole state on the same system where they can all communicate. And then another thing that's not unfinished business, but is continuing, is the Opioid Council and the opioid settlement money. The 70%, which I think right now is $104 million, somewhere in there. There's money coming in each week, but that council's opened up a grant application that closed on September 19th, and now we'll be looking at those applications, grading those, and the intent is to get the money out to these people as soon as possible so that the opioid abatement can continue in the state. And then we have 15% that goes to the cities and counties, and it's come to my attention that there's some significant money. Like Lee County's getting almost $1 million. Tupelo's getting almost $1 million. New Albany's getting, I think, $130,000. Union County's getting $313,000. And these cities and counties, a lot of them don't. There's no guidelines for that money, so they could actually spend it on the sidewalks. But that's not what the intent of the money was.
Okay.
So I'm considering authoring some guidelines to help these cities and counties use that money for opioid abatement, and so and that will continue on, Gerard, to 2040. That money will continue into our state, and as you know, 500 Mississippians die each year from opioid overdose, and it's just a real serious issue.
Huge problem in the entire country, and the president at least is focusing on it to some degree. I mean, he recognizes this is a problem that we need to address, and it's right here at home in Mississippi as well.
Yeah, and and I'm glad he's focusing on that because the more we can have these conversations, the more we can get rid of the stigma, just like in mental health. Yeah, let's have these conversations. And everywhere, I was in Tupelo speaking at a mental health conference yesterday, and then a mother comes up and says, "Thank you for this, and let's have this conversation." Yeah. I have a son that and it was on the Ibogaine. I said, I would send him to Mexico right now to get this Ibogaine treatment. I said, we'll continue to do the research, but it's a real issue.
We've been talking about health care. Of course, that's the committee you chair, but the Speaker has, of course, announced that Education Freedom School Choice is the top priority for the 26th session, having, I think, a meeting tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Task force is. So where do you stand on that, Representative Creekmore?
Well, I'm for the school choice. Okay. I am. And the Speaker and I have had conversations. Rob Robertson, who chairs education, I talked to him yesterday. I mean, we have incredible schools here in Union County. They're all A schools. Both of them, school systems are in the top 10 in the state. And I make the argument that we really already have school choice here. The school systems if a child wants to go from New Albany to Myrtle, New Albany has to release the child. Okay. And they can go. And so in the bill we did last year from the House, we just removed that one step where schools had to release. Yeah. And so we do have kids going from one school to another here in Union County, and they're both, but the schools are thriving. New Albany may offer something that a county school doesn't have, so let that child come.
Makes sense.
And so they all get along well, and we're doing it. But the Speaker, and I'm anxious to see what the final product will look like. The federal Trump and his staff are pushing universal school choice. We cannot afford that here in Mississippi, but I think we can have some form of school choice, and where that money does follow around that we can't afford, and then work toward universal school choice. I'm for it. I'm with the Speaker.
Okay. I think Representative Owen, he was on a couple of weeks ago. Of course, he authored the just public-to-public transfer bill last year. I think he's going to bring that out again and maybe add some nuances to that. The problem is, is we can't get it through the Senate.
I know. Well, I'm hoping through all these hearings and now that the House has made this a priority, and I know Rob is working with Dennis DeBar and they communicate. Side, and let's just have these conversations outside of session and try to come with something we agree on. We get along well with each other outside of session, but sometimes when they get on their end of the hall, we get on our end of the hall. There seems to be a big chasm in the middle, but we can get it worked out.
Maybe it'll be different this year. We'll get something through.
And with it being a priority for President Trump, it kind of helps. Yeah, especially in the Republican Party.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Representative Sam Creekmore has been our guest here in his home area here in Union County. That's the district incorporated in District 14, which he represents. He serves as Public Health and Human Services Committee Chairman. Always good to see you, and happy birthday, Representative Sam Creekmore.
Thank you so much.
On, man.
Yes, sir.
Everybody.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Folks, we're stepping aside for a break right now. When we come back, it's Michael Mahoney and Sherry Mahoney. They are retirees right here in New Albany. Stay with us.
From the Secret
and stay ahead of the curve. MidDays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's MidDays from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival. We're pleased to welcome now Michael and Sherry Mahoney. They are retirees and residents of New Albany. Michael, Sherry, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, so tell me the story. What brought you to New Albany? Where'd you come from, and why'd you decide to take up residence here, Michael?
We came from New Orleans.
Okay.
We lived down there 24 years. We lived right downtown in the middle of everything. We loved it. We had a ball. Our careers took off down there. Everything was wonderful for about 21 years. And then came COVID and a year-long COVID shutdown. And then came Hurricane Ida, and the lights were out for 2 weeks. And that particular hurricane caught a lot of us off guard down there. We weren't ready. And after that, we started thinking about, well, no matter what party you go to, you have to know when it's time to go home. You have to know when it's time to leave. And it was getting time to leave. So we started out looking for a little place we could run to during hurricane season, because our retirement plans were made. We knew when we were going to be free. So we started looking around. Sherry made a long trip up into North Carolina scouting places. We figured that was just a little too far. So we started looking North Mississippi. And we Googled best small towns for retirement in Mississippi, and New Albany popped up on two very prestigious lists, Southern Living and CNN. So we decided to come take a look. We came up here for the first time the weekend before Thanksgiving in 2021, and by the time we went home 3 days later, we had a house. And it was Frankie McMillan at J. Morris helped us out a lot, drove us all over everywhere. And we just really enjoyed the setting. We met people. The people here are great. So we started coming up. Our intention was to keep our place in New Orleans and have our New Albany home as a second home. But the more time we spent up here, the more we liked it. And we thought, oh, and by the way, owning two properties is not as glamorous as it sounds. It's a pain. So after a while, we decided, well, let's cash out and move to New Albany. We really enjoy spending time there. And we can always visit New Orleans and see it from we'll see the city from the window of the Four Seasons or something. We don't have to maintain a place down there. So
gotcha.
We moved, and we just love the place. Our neighbors are fantastic people. We met them just as soon as we got the house. Everything you need is in New Albany, and everything's 5 minutes from everything else. I mean, it's just so easy to live here.
Yeah.
I used to have to drive 20 minutes to go to a Walmart that was 2 miles away. Now I'm over there in 5 minutes, and then I'm back over here in 5 minutes.
So, Jerry, have you ever been to New Albany before? Did you just did this look up and found a list of cities and said, hey, let's go up there and check it out?
That's exactly what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't know anybody in New Albany. We had never been to New Albany that we could remember, and we kind of didn't know where we were exactly. We were just kind of in a new spot. And we loved it.
Yeah. We
loved it right away.
So when you came, did you go into some of the shops and restaurants and visit and talk to people or residents and so forth? Or?
We had dinner one night, and we didn't go into, it was a quick trip.
Yeah.
But later on, of course we did.
Sure.
It was wonderful. Every day makes us more proud to live here.
That's awesome. And had you lived in New Orleans, what'd you say, 20-something years, right?
24 years.
24 years. You talk about a cultural contrast and just an urban contrast. Yeah, New Orleans is a city that's pretty much congested and crammed into a small amount of land sandwiched between a bunch of bodies of water.
Yeah. Exactly.
Beautiful, charming, fantastic city. But a little different lifestyle than here, huh?
We lived right downtown, and we walked most places. We come home, park the car, and walk out.
Yeah.
And that's great. You can do that here.
Yeah.
Our house is a 10-minute walk from where we're sitting right now.
That's awesome.
Or you can park once and go everywhere.
Yeah.
So there's high walkability in New Albany as well.
Sure.
And yes, it's a big cultural change. But
I wouldn't say that much. There's some pretty slick people here.
Yes. This is a smart town. This is an erudite town. It is.
The schools are great.
The schools are great. That adds value to the community.
Is great.
Yep. Healthcare.
Healthcare is wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, I found that out up close and personal earlier this year.
Okay.
I got great healthcare.
Okay. So Sherry, have you called your friends and said, "Hey, you guys ought to take a look at this place and think about moving up here as well"?
We don't want that many people moving in.
You want to keep it. You don't want to turn it into New Orleans, right?
Right. I love going to see my family, but they're fine where they are.
So they're listening,
That's right.
I know they are listening. I love y'all.
Yeah, you're a great ad for the city and for the Chamber of Commerce here as well, right? So you're making a good pitch for that. But it sounds like Michael, you just couldn't be more pleased with your decision. No regret whatsoever. Huh?
Every day we're amazed. Every day. I mean, all the time there are new restaurants opening, new shops opening, new services become available. We really thought we would need to go to Tupelo for a lot of things, anything unusual, and so that's what we were doing the first year. The more we learned about our town, the more we realized we don't have to. Yeah. We don't have to go to Tupelo, but Tupelo's there.
It's there, and Oxford and Memphis close too.
Oh yeah, close. Oxford. We were in Oxford last week, and then we got to retreat back to New Albany.
Yeah,
and I think those towns are growing this way.
Yeah,
you can easily commute from New Albany to Oxford or New Albany to
a lot of people
Tupelo.
do. Yeah,
and you get a lot. I mean, just $1 goes a lot further in home buying in New Albany than it does in Oxford or Tupelo, and it's not cramped.
Certainly one indicator that tells you that it's a good place and it has a thriving economy is the Main Street where we are right here, where all the shops are. They said full occupancy, 100% occupancy.
The shops are amazing.
Yeah.
It looks, this place looks like a Hallmark Christmas movie. It does. It's beautiful. And the surrounding area is absolutely gorgeous.
So have you ever been to the Tallahatchie River Festival? Is that something that you guys participate in?
We do. We're in the Rotary Club, and one of the big things they do is the rubber duck regatta, where they dump all the rubber ducks in the Tallahatchie River, and sometimes they have to be helped along because it's not very deep. But that's fun. And, there's pretty good music acts that come, and it's all right there compact. It reminds me really of some of the festivals in New Orleans. It's just not so huge. Yeah. You can actually go and see everything.
Yeah. And a lot of history as well with the Tanglefoot Trail and so forth, William Faulkner. A lot of history.
And the museum.
And the museum.
Union County Heritage Museum is the best small museum anywhere.
That's awesome. Yeah. So do you feel like this is your last move? You're here for a while?
We're adding on a room to the house. Okay. We're adding on a room to the house.
This is it.
This is your permanent last residence until your retirement, huh?
This is it.
Now, if my neighbors move, I don't know that I might have to move with them.
We would hate to lose any of our neighbors.
Okay.
We really would.
Well, that's good. So it sounds like you have a good relationship with your neighbors.
We do.
We're good friends now. Not just neighbors, friends.
You. Everybody in this town, they wave at each other, they speak. In New Orleans, if somebody stopped you to speak, you assumed it was a scam.
Something's wrong, huh?
This ain't right.
Well, I know you were talking to the mayor earlier, right? He's coming on the program in about 30 minutes.
Yes.
So,
he called me last night.
How about that?
Oh, yeah. This is, until you've lived in a city, again, I'm not bad-mouthing New Orleans. We loved it. But the city government is dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And here, it's very high-functioning. We know our city councilman. He's been to the House. Sherry called the mayor with a concern, and he called her back. If we needed to get Dr. Creekmore on the phone about something, he'd call us, I'm sure. He spoke at our Rotary Club meeting a couple of weeks ago.
That's awesome.
So government is responsive.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. And so, also, we should point out a very low crime rate too here, right?
The lowest in the we have the lowest crime rate and the lowest unemployment rate in the state.
Wow!
And we're in the top 5 in the country. That's what we were told at a Rotary Club.
I wonder where that, man. That's
we don't worry.
Impressive.
We just don't worry.
Yeah, little different than New Orleans, huh?
A little different. Yes.
And that's a shame because New Orleans is such a fabulous city, and it's been decimated to a great extent by the rise in crime. And just as you said, maybe the government's dysfunctional and don't seem to have an interest in fixing that problem. But it's not one here.
In New Orleans, you just walk with a purpose. You'll be all right. I mean, it's not like the city's under siege. They're places you don't go. But our neighborhood the warehouse district was considered very, very safe until after COVID and Ida, and we started having problems. That also was an incentive to go somewhere else.
Gotcha.
Well, we live on the north side now, and it is quiet. It is just you almost never see a car.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful.
Appreciate you guys coming on.
Hear the train.
Michael and Sherry Mahoney, they are retired residents here of the city of New Albany. Came up here from New Orleans. Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
It's fun.
It's a treat.
We're coming right back with Brittany Clark, nurse practitioner and New Albany resident. Stay with us. We're at the Tallahatchie River Festival's coming up. That's why we're here.
Poly up It's so awesome! Middays with Gerard Gibert. Come on, let's get on with the show! On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Yes, the great Eric Clapton. Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, one of the greatest guitar riffs ever recorded there, Will. Appreciate that. We're pleased to welcome now Brittany Clark, nurse practitioner and New Albany resident. And Brittany, we hear that you are kind of making this park along the river revitalization project come to fruition. Is that true? Welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. I'm with the assistance of many others in our community, yes. I've been doing a lot of the grunt work with writing grants and such, but and just trying to keep the momentum going with it.
Okay. Now, these are federal grants for parks and historical preservation, or how does that work?
Okay, so there are some of those available. However, the grant that we were awarded in 2024 that kicked off the construction of this was the Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship and Trust Fund.
Sure, absolutely.
And we just applied for our second round of that, hopefully to be awarded starting in 2026.
Okay.
Which would, as our current grant funding closes out in April, it would just keep it going straight through if they're generous and gracious enough to accept our proposal again.
Okay.
And continue their support.
So what are you specifically trying to do exactly?
For the park along the river, it's a 30-year-old park. Our goal is to update it and provide an outdoor recreational space that is a generational concept, really. It is going to open up. The progress is already underway with Camp Creek remediation that runs parallel to the Tallahatchie right there and channels out into it. But we have cleared those banks, eased the slopes, stabilized the banks, and creating overlooks so that you can have an outdoor classroom on the creek side. You can the kids can get back into nature, get their feet down in the water, and we found some amazing fossils while we were doing some of this work already. And there's a lot of ecological history there, and just to conserve that area, it also helps preserve some of the endemic species that are in the Little Tallahatchie Riverway. By improving the stream and the flows of the creek that channels there. And we have a state-of-the-art playground planned for the area that is all nature themed, so it's very cohesive with the environment, because you don't really have a lot of parks that are just full of trees like ours. And kayak access points. There's an outdoor fitness center component that will allow free access to our community to utilize that equipment where they don't have that currently. porch swings, the Riverside Boardwalk. I mean, we could talk all day about all the things.
So how'd you get involved in this? You're a nurse practitioner.
Well, I am a nurse practitioner, and a few years ago, I think it was 2023, maybe, was the first Leadership Union County program. And what that is UCDA and Main Street kind of came together and wanted to do a program to hone in skills for future leaders in the community. And I own Rural Health Clinic down the street here, and I signed myself up because it's hard navigating how to manage people, and I just wanted to be better. So I signed up to improve leadership skills, and then we got involved, and I saw what an asset this could be for the mental health of our community, for the physical health of our community, and just the well-being in general. Plus, our kids deserve an area like this, what we're building, just as much as anybody else. We shouldn't have to drive 2 hours to participate in something like this.
Incredible history in the area, especially associated with the river and the park. So 30 years, you said, since it's had anything done to it, right?
Whenever it was created, I had not even been born yet, actually. I found through the research,
That's incredible. So you're in the process of drafting some grant proposals right now?
Yes. Well, the first $2 million that we received from the Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund was primarily for grading, staking, just all the groundwork, and costs have gone up since then, so additional funding was needed, and to round that out. And then the playground equipment it's a heavy price tag
it's expensive.
On that. So, but we're trying to build all of this on a foundation to make it last, because we know that the area is subject to flooding with the river, and we want to make it something that's going to last and be sustainable. So
the community is in support of this effort as well?
Yeah. With our leadership class as a fundraiser, we started Parkapalooza as kind of the spring festival around here now. We just finished our third year this past May, but we have raised over $30,000 just with community support. Wow. And 3 years in a row, each year, $30,000 plus. So that and all of that goes straight to the park funding too. So
sounds like you're well on your way.
We're trying. We've got a $500,000 grant request into the Building Fund for the Arts, and the second most.
Awesome. Brittany Clark, a New Albany resident and nurse practitioner who is heavily involved in the Park Along the River Revitalization Project. Thanks for coming on, Brittany.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep. We're stepping aside for a break. It's top of the hour. That means Fox News, SuperTalk News coming your way. On the other side, it's Jeff Olson, the mayor of New Albany, Mississippi. Stay with us.
And now, another hour of the talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Begin your transition now.
Now on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival on this hump day, as Ryan Ho would say. We appreciate you joining us. Once again, special thanks to the Tallahatchie Gourmet for providing food for the crew today. Locations in New Albany and Oxford. We're pleased to welcome now the mayor of New Albany, Mississippi, Mayor Jeff Olson. Mr. Mayor, good to see you, sir.
Gerard, good to see you, my friend.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate it.
You got to be awfully proud of the great city of New Albany that you have here, as we are positioned with a view of the Union County Courthouse right here in downtown New Albany, doing some renovation on the building. It's looking good, man.
I tell you what, I wish I was the copper salesman on that.
That's a bunch of copper, isn't it? It's beautiful, though. It really is. One of the most recognizable courthouses, I would say, in the state, if not in the country. But, man, your downtown area is thriving. Talking to retirees, Michael and Sherry Mahoney, Brittany Clark, who's spearheading the Park Along the River Revitalization Project. You got a lot of stuff going on. You got to be proud.
Well, the good thing about it is coming in, New Albany has a lot of doers. And sometimes, doing the day-to-day as mayor, you got to let the doers and let them go and let them do. So Brittany has been wonderful. And obviously Billie Jean has been, she's wonderful.
Yeah, talked to her earlier in the program. But I got to point out again that going down your main street in downtown, I'm told that it's 100% occupation, that all the buildings, all the shops have operators in them. So nothing is up for lease or sale or boarded up or anything like that.
And I can remember back in the early 80s, maybe late 70s as a kid, that just, there was a lot of vacancies downtown.
Yeah.
And Billy Wiseman and Tommy Sappington, they spearheaded some renovation efforts. And then, obviously with Main Street, how important that is. And with Billie Jean cranking it up another level when she got in.
Yeah.
It's the place to be. And that's where I think, people want to start out downtown.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of amenities downtown.
And then we also have to add, we talked to Bill Maddox and Julie Cottrell earlier about lighting up Union County with high-speed internet access. I mean, that's also a huge draw and a huge amenity that now is available to all the residents in the county.
And I didn't realize it until I was listening to Bill a while ago, but with the gigabyte service at each store if they want it, that's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Countywide.
He was recalling our discussion 3 years ago when they were just launching this project. And now it's done, complete, and they're out selling the service to residents and businesses. I mean, it's a pretty cool deal to have that penetration and that kind of coverage in such a short period of time for the entire county, because there's a lot of people think about moving here or setting up a business. That's one of the primary requirements.
And we're also so lucky that we've added another hat to Bill back in the day with the broadband.
Yeah.
But he does such a great job with the electric, the gas, the water, the wastewater. I mean, he handles it all. And he's got a great group of guys underneath him. And Will Denton's been a really good job as an engineer helping me out as far as doing some projects downtown.
All right. So what do you want to share with us about New Albany? What you got going on?
Well, we got the biggest thing to me is just, far as from a population standpoint, back, several years, we've kind of been stagnant in growth. And I think a lot of the people, when they talk, they said there was just not the housing inventory is just not there.
Okay.
So what I want to be is pro retail, pro industrial, pro people coming in, just like the Mahonies coming in from New Orleans. I love those stories.
The story's great, yeah.
But how can we get that? So we do have a couple projects. Terry Young's got a phase 1 development for about 20 houses out on called Doublegate, and then the whole project phases could be up to 148 dwellings, which would be incredible from a standpoint of development. And then today, just got some plans and got another couple of guys that are doing another project for another 58 homes coming to New Albany. So different price points on each. So we'll have some moderate 1,600 square foot homes, and then we'll have some obviously bigger ones.
So, Mayor, something that I know all municipalities have to deal with, and it's continuous, is infrastructure, in particular the water and the transportation, the road infrastructure. How you doing there?
Well, we're doing great. Obviously, with Bill, touched on it a while ago.
Yeah.
But just on the other side, we're getting very, very aggressive. The board, again, this year we're decided to where we're going to do some paved streets. That's probably going to be upwards of $2 million that we're going to really get aggressive as far as millage, some drainage, some sidewalks, and just get some miles in so get caught back up.
Speaking of millage, how are the city's finances?
We're good. We're cautious this year as far as when we did the budget. Everybody got 3% raise, but we're going to see how it shakes out this year with the new system, with the grocery tax and all that. Just sit back and look, and then we'll get on it, going into the next fiscal year.
Yeah. Anything else that you guys are working on that you see as maybe a longer term challenge that needs to be addressed? You and the board.
I mean, the biggest thing is just bringing people in.
Okay.
I mean, we want to keep the millage. Obviously, that's a hot topic.
Yeah.
We're at 19.88 from a city standpoint. Not talking about the schools. But it just takes a lot to run a city. And the biggest thing is Demery Grubbs has been a wonderful mentor to me. We talked 2 or 3 times. He'll come up to City Hall and we'll sit down and talk. But it is amazing. Our budget's $8.9 million, and of which 65% roughly That's what we pay the employees, their benefits, their insurance.
Okay.
So running a city on 35%, I mean, that's pretty intimidating sometimes, but that's what it is. And, we have to be cognizant, but how can we, what do? We got to grow.
That's impressive.
So,
what's the org chart look like? Are you needing staff? You feel like you're about right?
I think we're good. We're going to run with what we got, and we got a deputy clerk that's going to take Frankie Roberts' place. She's finally retiring after about 20 years, so we're going to miss her. But shout out to Frankie, but she's just going to take care of some grandkids.
Okay. So that's a good way. So anything in particular that you'd like to see our legislature do? Are you in touch with the delegation, the Representative Creekmore?
Sorry to cut you off. I've been very fortunate with a good friend of mine, Representative Steverson, Representative Massengill, and of course Sam Creekmore. He always lets me come down. I'll usually pick in session a couple times to come down on Wednesdays, and they'll let me hang out with them at dinner time. But and that's about it. I mean, that's what it is. It's about relationships, and get to know the senators, get to know obviously.
You got a great delegation.
So we do. So wonderful. So going forward, I mean, the biggest need that I see is just the I-22, Highway 30 interchange.
Yeah.
And that's what I've talked to Brad White about. I've talked to Matt Dunn over at MDOT and Tupelo and all the some other legislators. But that's just something that we're trying to do in town. We're not trying to go out and build new. We're trying to maintain what we have, and that would be a nice start to get that in the works.
Gotcha. Well, and that's something, of course, as you well know, that all the communities across our state are striving for, which is just improving the transportation infrastructure in the area. And that's a constant need as well. That never goes away.
Mm-hmm. And paving, is part of it. Drainage is starting to be more and more a bigger deal. We're dealing with some of that in downtown New Albany. We got a couple of grants that we're looking at that we've applied for to help us with that. But as you know, grants are just obviously not that plentiful.
Yeah.
And, the budget and the money that we have is the money that we have. So we got to work within that pie.
Absolutely. Anything from the federal level perspective, Mayor, that affects you one way or another?
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going up October the 8th. We're going to head to Washington, D.C. on my first trip up there just to kind of, we got meetings set up with our representatives up there and our senators. So we're looking forward to that. And just getting to know them. And obviously, with the I-22, Highway 30 is a big deal. It's a big deal for the people here just to get the flow better from a safety standpoint. And I know I keep harping on it, but just when you want people to come in, you want people to shop.
Yeah.
It's just a detriment when you just have something that's it's antiquated.
It's got to feel good when we hear folks like the Mahoneys talk about, we were looking for a place to live, and New Albany just stuck out, and we decided to make it our permanent home. And then Billie Jean talking about folks coming in here for the Tallahatchie River Fest and then making it their permanent home often after they visit.
It's wonderful. And then, just no telling how many people that come through that just get off I-22. They're coming in. They don't usually tell you. They'll tell them if they're looking for a house, that's why you got to have your A game. You got to have your curb appeal. You got to look good when people come in.
Sure.
And that's what we're working still to keep on improving. But I'd love to have people stop by the mayor's office and say, "Hey, Jeff, what can we do?" But I mean, we'd love to have them.
Oh,
we're
awesome.
open. We're open for people.
Well, and you're right. It's that initial first impression that often can make the difference in that decision. It's a big deal. Overall, though, we're seeing lots of growth across Mississippi. The state seems to be in good shape. Is that kind of your impression as well?
We're good. Our sales tax collection were relatively kind of flat last year. We had a couple of bad months, but about 4.5 million that we got in from ours.
Okay.
But
so do you
from a state level, I'd love always to continue a little bit of a little rebate back, a little extra.
In your revenue mix, Mayor, mostly ad valorem taxes or sales taxes?
Our ad valorem tax, really, from this standpoint, we were at 15.88, which brought in about $470,000 in revenue.
Okay.
We did go up a good bit in the millage and from Parks and Rec, and then also for the general fund to 19.88. But it raised, so we're now from a property tax standpoint about $700,000 that we'll bring in. But just the cost of doing business in the city and running it, as we talked about the 65-35. I mean, just labor's not getting any cheaper.
Mayor Jeff Olson, the mayor of New Albany, Mississippi, has been our guest. Appreciate it, Mayor. Thanks for coming on,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yep. Folks, we're stepping aside for a break. Stay with us. We're coming right back on Middays from downtown New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival.
The best. Check it out.
Let's do this.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Let's get on with it.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival, the big event up here coming up. So, Will, we reported earlier about the shell casings apparently having some sort of anti-ice messaging. These are the shell casings from the shooting that occurred this morning just before 7 a.m. local time in Dallas at a Texas ice facility. Killed one, wounding several others before the shooter took his own life. So I'm looking at a photo, Will, and all it says is anti-ice is all I see right now. No other details. And that was just released. So the investigation, of course, still ongoing, but you know, it'll be interesting to see what the profile of this fool looks like. A deceased fool now, having taken his own life, but I call him a fool because he decided to play shoot 'em up at an ice facility. It's just unthinkable that this kind of crap's happening in this country. And, you know, even in the wake of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there continue to be politically motivated attacks across the country, and most of them have kind of flown under the radar. You know, you haven't seen a lot of exposure and big-time news reports. For example, vigils are being disrupted. 2 people were arrested last Thursday after disrupting a Massachusetts vigil held for Kirk. That, according to Boston.com. And then, excuse me, there had volume turned up a little high. So there are individuals affiliated with Antifa, which, of course, the president recently declared a terrorist organization. They've been involved in disruptions across the country as well. One of the instigators, a minor who was arrested on suspicion of assault and battery. Just all kind of stuff. Police said that a suspect punched someone wearing a Make America Great Again hat. So lots of these kinds of crazy things still going on across the country. Another in Florida, a vigil held at a Florida retirement community. A 56-year-old protester allegedly shoved a 73-year-old after a brief confrontation, that according to Fox Orlando. I walked towards her and I said, "You're not coming up here. You need to get out of here." And she just pushed me like that, and I fell back. Head hit the concrete. Co-founder of the community's MAGA club, Valerie Jameson, reported to Fox Orlando. So, can they just give it a break? Or are they just, I guess, just compelled and feel like they just got to go out and disrupt and protest, but more importantly, get violent? And I just don't understand that. A gunman shot and killed a man at a New Hampshire country club Saturday. A witness claimed the shooter shouted, "Free Palestine." Oh, my gosh. So much hate, so much nonsense. Deranged people looking for some sort of attention, some sort of cause, and I guess they found it. You just think about how much better our country would be if these people would expend their energy on something that serves society and produces for society rather than harms it, tears it down, destroys it. I just don't get it. What about Keith Olbermann? Remember him from ESPN? Is he a despicable human or what? So
I've always said that Keith Olbermann's career looks great if you look at it backwards. Okay?
That's exactly right. It just progressed downhill through the years. Man. Former ESPN, and of course he also had a stint with MSNBC. He went out to X and he posted Monday threatening CNN's Scott Jennings. Unbelievable. He responded to one of Jennings' tweets. Now, Jennings is a kind of a breath of fresh air, common sense, somewhat conservative member of the CNN team. He's pretty good. I mean, he confronts the far left-leaning CNN reporters, and he does it with facts. That's what I like so much. And he kind of does it in the vein of Charlie Kirk, in that he doesn't really get hostile and confrontational. He just presents data and facts, and he causes them to really search through their comments and their views and their assertions before just throwing them out there. But in 2 posts, Olbermann wrote, "You're next, MF." I don't know why these left-wing lunatics have to involve F-bombs in their language. They just can't seem to communicate without embedding that. Here's Olbermann, followed by saying, "You're next, MF, but keep mugging to the camera." That was to Scott Jennings on a post that he made. Scott Jennings, the CNN journalist. So he's since deleted those posts, but Jennings reposted the screenshot and tagged FBI Director Kash Patel in it. Oh, my gosh. What is up with this guy, Olbermann? What a sick person he is. But I don't know why they feel like this is the only way they can communicate. So, oh, my gosh. His employer suspended him for being an insensitive prick. That's what Jennings said. And we don't live in an authoritarian regime. Got it? That's what Jennings wrote. So since the assassination, concerns about political violence have certainly risen. Republicans continue to hold vigils and mourn Kirk's death, and you're seeing an explosion of applications to form Turning Point USA chapters across the country. Still, however, many Democrats and just deranged people in this country continue to celebrate this assassination. It's just incomprehensible. Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Instruction Ryan Walters just yesterday announced a plan to establish chapters of Turning Point USA at all the state high schools. What do you think, guys? Is that something we should press for here in the state of Mississippi? Now, I can't tell, Will, in just reading all the various reports, whether or not high schools would be required to establish these chapters, or if Ryan Walters is simply working with TPUSA to just promote the idea and to help get them organized. So I can't tell if it's, like a rule, a policy. You must create a chapter.
I don't think they could do that, to be honest.
I don't either, honestly. But I feel like they'll get lots of takers. You know what I mean? And there'll be a lot of new TPUSA chapters created across Oklahoma's high schools.
Yeah, we're learning more about this anti-ICE gunman who opened fire on a Dallas facility. He has been identified, according to the New York Post. They also say that there are 2 dead. They were both migrant detainees, actually, and then another was injured by the sniper. He fired, they believe, 20 shots.
Wow.
New York Post has identified him as Joshua Jahn, Jahn. He was 29 years old, died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound at the scene. He apparently had a perch. He was elevated, and there's a picture of that you mentioned of the rounds, and one of them scrawled with the word anti or the term anti-ice.
Anti-ice, yeah. That's all it says that I could tell. So, all right, but all we know, we have the person's name and age, but really
that's all we know at this
about
moment.
Their profile.
Actually, Kash Patel, the FBI director, was actually in Dallas when this happened, and he made his way quickly to the scene.
Well, you simply cannot have a functional society if people are out taking pot shots at law enforcement. That ain't going to fly. That's not going to work. I don't know where the Democrats stand on this. It would be interesting to hear some of them perhaps come out and condemn and denounce this shooting. But I don't know. I haven't seen or heard anything just yet. But this can't stand in this country. We can't have people going out and shooting at members of law enforcement. I don't care what the agency is. We have to respect the law. Now, if they step over the line, that's a different story, but you don't shoot at them. I mean, that's not the way to mitigate that and to address that. If there's some problems of true law enforcement brutality, let's talk about that. We're coming right back. We're in New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival.
From the Seabrook.com.
Okay, is everybody ready?
I'm ready. Ready here.
Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Mississippi's favorite son, that would be Elvis, bumping us into this segment here in New Albany for the Tallahatchie River Festival. We're pleased to welcome now Randy Kelly, Executive Director of Three Rivers Planning and Development District. Randy, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's an excitement to be back. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. So tell us exactly what the planning and Three Rivers Planning and Development District does. What's their role? What's their mission?
That's a question I hate people to ask because there's not a short answer.
That's okay.
Basically, we're a private nonprofit that was created by local governments to help local governments address opportunities or problems, i.e., the Tanglefoot Trail is a project of ours. It's a separate corporation, and we're the fiscal administrative agency for that. A regional landfill owned by the 7 counties, 27 county workforce, a statewide loan program. And then John, who is with us today, does grants and loans for local governments. So we're deeply involved in economic development, the Pool Alliance, which is, everybody's heard of Toyota. Mm-hmm. We were the organizers and still the fiscal administrative agency for the Pool Alliance. And so basically if a local government has a need, we're there to try to help them solve that need or open opportunities, and we work hand in glove with local businesses and industries and workforce and loan programs and our community college network.
So tell us again exactly what you're doing here in New Albany. What's your involvement there?
With the city of New Albany, currently, of course, the Tanglefoot Trail that comes right across the street from you. Yeah. We have, thanks to our legislature's help and the highway commissioner, we have a $2.75 million renovation project going that will renovate the trail, all 43 miles of it. It goes from New Albany through Pontotoc and Ecru, Ingomar, down to Algoma, all the way to Houston. It is, by the way, a Hall of Fame trail by the National Trails Conservatory. Was the 33rd in the nation. And we're renovating that, and then we continue to have grant to help water and sewer. We promote the industrial side up here, the industries and things, working with the municipal and county officials, and handle the solid waste. All the solid waste in Union County comes to the regional landfill, which was the first publicly owned regional facility in Mississippi.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but how would you compare your work with New Albany to some of the other municipalities you work with? Are they doing pretty good here?
New Albany is very aggressive. They're a great community. They got a tremendous amount going. Billie Jean does a wonderful job. The elected officials. New Albany is all about growth and about providing the citizens what they need to have quality life and the availability of a good, sound job. And they do a great job at it. It's a wonderful town. As you can see, the downtown, you don't see many downtowns like this. And they're just blessed to have good elected officials that are aggressive to help their people.
What do you see in working with Randy, with other municipalities? What do you see as kind of a common need, a common challenge that sticks out the most to you?
All of our local governments are fighting infrastructure, water and sewer. It's gone so high. I can remember when an elevated water tank was $1 a gallon. Did a 500,000 gallons, it's $500. We got a cost estimate the other day. It's over $5 million, closer. Jeez. And so infrastructure, since COVID and all the increases, has just become a tremendous, I won't say burden, but a tremendous financial issue for local governments to maintain and keep up the quality. That is a biggie. Workforce training, and we serve 27 counties, approximately a third of the state, with all the state and federal workforce dollars, partnering with community college to give all their citizens an opportunity to have a skill to sell. You got to have something to sell. Whether you're in the radio business or, as the mayor prior to being mayor, was in the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. And worked great with our community college, and of course the municipality supports that and backs it 100%. And then continuing industrial development to grow the economic base that helps every business up here. And we've been big in lending for years and years. Won't call any on the line, but there's several right down this street as well as close to here that we've made loans to continue the commercial and economic growth of Union County and New Albany.
Have those worked out pretty well?
Yes, sir.
Produced a good return?
Yes, sir. We have one of the, in fact, I believe I'm correct in saying the largest direct loan program called revolving loan in rural America.
Wow.
And over $32 million our pot, and we partner with banks. We are partners. Three Rivers nor Randy Kelly has ever done anything individually. We are good at partnerships with local governments, with commercial, with the community colleges, and with banking institutions, and so you can double that for the impact. And so, yes.
Yeah. You were telling me before we went on the air that you're working with New Albany and implementing and modernizing their information technology systems, right?
We, several years ago, were blessed to acquire a grant to put a hazard accessibility system in, and at the time it was for our base 8 counties. And as will happen with computers, they become outdated, and it's a IBM Power 8. We are, thanks to the help of the legislature and our local governments, implementing as we speak for 18 counties an HA system that will go to a Power 10 IBM. All their financial data for the county and some of New Albany's data as well will go to a Power 10 in Dallas, and be mirror image to a Power 10 in St. Louis, and cybernetics backed up in Dallas and in Pontotoc, Mississippi. You can't overprotect in today's world the information that they have, and if you lose it, you're in trouble. And so our local governments recognize that, and we're excited about it, and that is in the process of being implemented now, as well as the Tanglefoot I mentioned. And we just signed a contract with Vital VBM, Vital Biomethane, to take the landfill gas from the public-owned landfill and clean it, put it back in the pipelines. Very environmentally strong, very financially strong, because you're taking a waste that you have to see after and converting it into a revenue. And vital is investing all the money. We just get a little off the top. How about that?
I got you. Anything in particular, Randy, that you think the cities could benefit from a state legislative perspective? Anything you'd like to see them do to address needs of cities?
I think our legislature has been very receptive to local governments, creating most to help them Mississippi Outdoor Stewardship Trust, to help with things like the Tanglefoot. They need to continue to look at the sales tax rebates that come to town and how important they are, and I think the Speaker and the Lieutenant Governor and the constituents are very aware of that, and look strong at infrastructure needs. As they have surpluses, the more they can do to help their local government's infrastructure meet the necessary levels for now and the future, then the stronger Mississippi will be long term. If you haven't got the infrastructure, you got troubles. I know one of the reasons the Pool Alliance worked was the ability for the infrastructure. It only provides electricity to the pool site, which is Toyota, a great partner in this region. The water comes from Northeast Water Association all the way on the Tombigbee River. City of Tupelo manages it for us. Sewer goes back to Tupelo treatment. The gas comes from Pontotoc. That's a partnership, and that's infrastructure. And the legislature needs to continue to look at the need for infrastructure and how it is an absolute necessity for economic development.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're getting that message loud and clear. I think they understand that. I think Brad White that runs Department of Transportation, and he's certainly attuned to this as well.
Right.
So,
great guy.
Yeah,
great guy.
Absolutely. Randy?
MDOT's been good.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on. Enjoy talking to you, man. Great job. Thank you, sir. Randy Kelly, Executive Director of Three Rivers Planning and Development District, has been our guest. Stay with us, folks. We got the final segment of Middays from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival coming up next.
It's so awesome! Middays with Gerard Gibert. Come on, let's get on with the show! On SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. Final segment from New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival. That's where we relocated the Element Wealth Studio today. Had a bunch of good interviews today, Will. Really enjoyed talking to all the good people here in this part of the state. A thriving community with Will, all the ingredients to make a super high quality of life. You got great health care, great schools, great leadership, low crime. This is what America is built on. Man, if we could just replicate this across the country. So certainly Mississippi is proud of New Albany and so many other great communities across the state of Mississippi. And the New Albany residents, you can tell, they're really beaming with pride as well as they should be, because they've built a great town and city, and a lot of good things are coming as well. In fact, on the C Spire text line, let's see if I can find. Yeah, John on the 662 said, I'm looking for a location in central or west Mississippi to locate a warehouse in Gluckstadt. Was okay, but not the fit I was looking for, the Delta, because of extreme crime. I thankfully found a location not far from the Walmart distribution center in New Albany. Yeah, passed by that, of course, on the way in. Well, good for you, John. That's just good to hear, man. Philip in Walthall County said the rounds appear to be 7.62 by 54R for the Mosin Nagant rifle. Is that how you pronounce that? That's the shooter from this morning at the ICE facility. in Dallas. Really sad to hear. Also need to report that there was a special election yesterday in Texas, and that seat remained in Democrat hands. Really no surprise there. But the margin is pretty dang close in the U.S. House. 219 to 214 is what the margin will be, Republicans to Democrat, once the elected official here, Grijalva, I think is the way you pronounce the name there. This is Adelita Grijalva, who is the daughter of Raul Grijalva, who died in March this year following complications from cancer. So she will be seated, and she's in a very no really change, no surprise here, a very comfortable Democrat district. But this will put the count Republicans 219 and then 214 for Democrats. 2 are still vacant. One of those leans heavy Republican, one of those leans heavy Democrat. So really no change. We will end up at 220 to 215. So a margin of 5, meaning that the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, can only lose 2 Republicans in any vote on legislation. Lose 3 means at that point you would lose to the Democrats. So you would have a count of 217 to 218 in favor of the Democrats there. So it's super hard to govern when you got that kind of a small delta between the parties in the lower chamber there in the House. But she will be seated soon and take that whole deal over. You've also probably seen a couple things before we get off the air here. A top Biden staffer admitted that they encourage social media companies to censor speech. And Google has admitted it with their YouTube platform, and they're re-platforming. You've seen this, Will. They're putting all those groups that they de-platform. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of them was Kash Patel. And they're restoring all that, right?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. We got knocked down.
I remember that.
It was on YouTube and I believe on Facebook, and I think we were sharing something the governor had put out.
Exactly. I remember that. Happened a couple of years ago, it seems like.
It was in 2020, 2021, somewhere like that. I can't remember the exact date, but it happened to us as well, so it just kind of tells you.
Also, the Trump Golf Club gunman, that's the one, what's that guy's name, Ralph, was the one that took a shot at the president while he was playing golf, been found guilty on 5 federal criminal counts, including attempting to assassinate a major presidential candidate. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. And then you saw the report, Will. He attempted to stab himself with a pen right after the verdict there in the court. Whoa, man. Crazy people. And then also the president, we'll get onto this a little bit more as well. This will be a big topic. Says acetaminophen is bad for pregnant women. No, I didn't say pregnant people, because there is no such thing. Only pregnant women. But there's a little nuance to it. It appears from all the reports I've read, you need to take it like a lot of it, and especially if you take it more than a month. There's some link perhaps to autism. So I'm glad at least the government is taking a look at this. The administration is. I think it's worth investigating and exploring. There doesn't seem to be a consensus. Folks, we're out of here today. Thanks so much for joining us. We're in New Albany, Mississippi for the Tallahatchie River Festival. Stay safe and God bless.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.